Hello and welcome back to a Simple Low Carb Life video series, and we are now on Module 8, Video 1, which is Troubleshooting Stalled Weight Loss. Now, we all at some point or another hit a brick wall when we're trying to lose weight. Sometimes it's just that the body has a memory of what your basically ideal weight was, or not ideal weight, but your weight loss where it always stalled before. And so you will tend to plateau off as you hit that mark anytime that you try to lose weight. So let's try to reason out what you can do when your weight loss stalls. Okay, let's say you've begun the diet, you've lost a bunch of weight in the first month, and now you're not losing any weight. Your weight's just stalled. What has happened? Okay, first off, just realize this happens to everyone. You're not alone in this. But before it gets out of hand and your weight starts to actually go up, or worse yet, you get discouraged, let's go through a very simple checklist so that we can assess what went wrong. Number one is, are you counting your carbohydrate intake accurately? Now, how can you do that? If your answer is, I think so, then you are not counting your carbs accurately at all. In order to know so, then you would be measuring your portions and tracking regularly. A lot of people start to think, I've got this, and they stop measuring portions or counting carbs early in their weight loss. Well, the devil is in the details, as they say, and it is absolutely vital for your success to know your portion sizes, and only if you know your portion sizes can you know how many net carbs are in each portion. If your portions are not accurate, and it is seldom too small, it's usually way too big, then you're eating more carbs than you think. If you eyeball something and you say, oh, well, that looks like a half a cup, well, that's not good enough for weight loss. It might be good enough for maintaining, but if you're trying to lose weight, you have to be very, very precise. Again, the devil is in the details. So when you're looking at a nutritional label, a serving size will be shown at the top of the label along with the nutritional label that tells you calories, protein, fat, carbohydrates. So beware of the serving size that's listed. It is very common for something that you think is only one serving to actually be 2 or more servings, which is a common deceptive bait and switch way that something can be marketed as low carb when it isn't. Not for the whole item. I have seen protein bars that stated a low carb amount, and when you look at the serving size, it says 3.5 servings. Well, which would be maybe an inch long of the bar for a serving size. So really read the labels and know the serving size. Then you would note the net carbs per serving and calculate out what is actually a portion that you can eat for that carb amount. And remember that formula again: total carbohydrates minus any dietary fiber listed on the label, and you can then subtract an additional 1/2 of any of the sugar alcohols contained, if any, and that gives you net carbs. You need to also make sure that your measurement of the serving size on the label is correct. So if it says the serving size is 4 servings per container, and you're measuring something that is a large amount of individual items, for example, 4 servings of soybeans in a bag. Well, it's really hard to measure that out accurately. So I would see how many ounces are in it and then figure that out by using measuring cups so that you can be accurate. If you're inaccurate on every single thing that you eat during the day, you're not going to lose weight. So the next question that you would need to answer is, are you tracking your carbohydrate intake? Okay, we've asked, are you measuring? Now, are you tracking? What do you mean by tracking? Well, Are you documenting your carb intake in some way every day? Again, we've gone over ways to track, and you can choose whatever way works for you as long as you do this religiously. It's only difficult the first week or so, and then it becomes a very well ingrained habit. And people who do this, quite frankly, in my years of experience in helping hundreds of people lose weight, frankly, the ones that lose weight regularly and get it off quickly are people who track. People who do not track do not, and they become very frustrated and hit many, many bumps in the road. So it's really as simple as tracking and measuring is precise, and then you will lose weight. And ways that you can track can be MyFitnessPal, again, loseit.com, Adkins.com. You can use an old-fashioned little pocket notebook. You can use an Excel sheet on your computer. Any tracking app that you particularly like, you can use. Again, I've mentioned that I've had at least one patient that just took pictures of his food. So find a way that works for you and track. So why do I have to track, you might ask? Isn't that kind of crazy and time-consuming and frankly obsessive? I mean, what is this lady telling me to do to track all the time? It's a bummer. Well, why do you have to track? Well, here's some reasons. Number one, if you're really interested in this video, then you've got some stalled weight going on. So that's a big reason right there. But to know that you're in ketosis, which is the fat burning state, that state is a very precise state that requires you to be eating under a certain threshold of carbohydrates or you will not be in ketosis. So if your carbohydrate level is not low enough, you're not in ketosis. It's kind of like being pregnant or not. You're in it, in ketosis, or you're not. You're not kind of in ketosis. So it's a very specific thing. You have to be eating under the threshold to remain in ketosis. And we are aiming for you to be at 30 grams of net carbs a day, which will pretty much guarantee just about anybody will be in ketosis with that amount. Another reason is unless you are a seasoned veteran of low-carb eating and are familiar with all of the sneaky carbs in your food, you really have to count them because you're not skilled enough to know what the dangers are out there. Think of yourself like a child, a little 2-year-old in the low-carb world, and you need guidance. And so tracking will help you to learn much more quickly what you need to do. So if you're losing weight and you're not tracking, then you're likely following the guidelines. Again, if your weight is stalled, you are likely not following the guidelines, likely not measuring accurately and not tracking. And you're eating too many carbs, and then your weight stalls. If you are eating too many carbs, again, you will not be in ketosis or the fat burning state, and then this diet will become a carbohydrate-based, calorie counting diet, which is absolutely miserable. Everyone's been on this type of a diet in their life, and calorie counting just frankly sucks. It is a miserable way to lose weight. So that will mean for you, hunger will return, cravings, weight gain, blood sugar instability, moods all over the place. It's not a comfortable way to live, certainly not a comfortable way to diet. So you might ask yourself, okay, why do I need to be in ketosis anyway? Can't I just lose weight without being that low in carbs and just being lower in carbs? Well, let's review that again. Your body will be a very efficient, specific fat burner and use up your long-stored fat stores if you're in ketosis. Otherwise, it will not. Your pancreas will stop overworking and stop secreting too much insulin, and it will start secreting a steady state of insulin. And remember, a steady state of insulin equals fat storage usage. If your insulin is up and elevated and all over the place, you will not burn fat. Insulin overproduction always, always, always means fat storage and lockdown. You will also be free of significant hunger and cravings when you're in ketosis. Your brain power will improve, you'll feel more energetic, and you'll have more stamina than you would if you were a carb burner or using carbohydrates for fuel. Okay, so now We've got the carb amount under control. We know how to correct our course. And we try that for a little bit. And guess what? Weight is still plateaued. What next? What am I doing wrong? Well, we are going to find that out in video 2 and figure out the next strategy that we can do. So anytime that you get stuck in your weight loss course, please let us know. We're here to help. If you need regular coaching visits through virtual visits, either email or FaceTime visits or Skype, we are here to help you at any point. So let's move on to video 2 and find out some more troubleshooting stalled weight tips. We'll see you in the next video. Take a break after this, please.